Hey everyone, this is Smarty, and I'm here to talk about a deck that I find incredibly powerful in the current metagame. And it's the kind of deck that can often be played in many different metagames, and so I thought I might as well record a video about it, because that way it can be content for the future as well, which is just sort of convenient to have in case people come into Duelyst and they're looking for new decks to play as they're starting out. So Bugvet. It's a deck that I have played in tournaments. I've played it in two different tournaments. I played it in the Kelvin tournament last week to much success, relatively, and I just want to talk about it. If you don't know me, I'm a relatively accomplished duelist player. I won the Boardlist Invitational, which was a funky format in like January 2023. I won Team Wars, well, alongside my team. I won Kelvin's Epic Series 2, and I've won my various minor tournaments alongside that. I am currently the highest earning Duelist 2 player in terms of tournament winnings as of 2nd of February 2024, and hopefully that won't change. But yeah, let's just get right into it and start talking about these cards. So let's get into Duelist. Here we go. So, Bugvet. The most important thing about Bugvet is that you are playing Vitruvian. And this is because Vitruvian has access to a couple of very powerful faction cards that really make this deck tick. So, those are Windstrike and Starfire Scarab. So, this concept can be transferred to other classes. I've seen some Abyssian. But Vet is one of the best because its bugs are exceptionally powerful, and that's what we're looking for with Bugvet. We're looking for a series of strong neutral cards which incidentally tend to pop up when you type bug into the search bar. And that's a really useful way to find the cards for this deck. It's nice, so the deck's powerful, and the devs really point you to it. They make it accessible, they give you a title if you beat bosses with it, which is good, because it's a really powerful deck against bosses. And yeah, just sort of nice and simple stuff. It's composed of a lot of commons and rares. There are a few legendaries, but none of them are mandatory, and so it's just a great way to start out. So I'm going to start with the early game here. So there's 3 2-drops that I would say are core to the deck. And those are Blue Tip Scorpion, which is a 2-mana 4/1 that deals double damage to minions. Piercing Mantis, which is a 2-mana 1/3 with Frenzy. And Rustcrawler, which is a 2-mana 2/2 with Opening Gambit, destroy a random artifact equipped... Artifact? Yes, that's the right word. Equipped to the enemy general. So, together, these 2-drops have a really powerful synergy, which is they all solve different problems, which is very convenient for this sort of mid-range deck. So, Blue Tip Scorpion is incredibly powerful against single high health minions. It does 8 damage a pinch if it, gets to swing in. And that's really convenient because basically nothing in the game has more than 8 health. There are some exceptions, but you don't really care about them. So 8 damage will get you to kill most things. Great stuff. Piercing Mantis, that's the second part of this core. So Piercing Mantis is great because it has Frenzy, and Frenzy is an AoE keyword. So you have Blue Tip Scorpion, which helps you deal with the single target damage. But Piercing Mantis is great AoE, it kills Gravity Wells. You can kill all 4 Gravity Wells at once without taking any counter attack damage. It can trade into Blazing Spines, which isn't great, but it's, better than nothing. It kills eggs, it kills Wraithlings. It's just a really powerful, slap it down early, AoE your opponent, you're safe. And some decks actually don't play large minions, and they don't play small minions. They're sort of one-man army types. And Rustcrawler is really good against them, because they all play artifacts, if you're doing that sort of thing. And lots of other decks, will sneak in a Regalia or an Adamantite Claws anyway. So Rustcrawler just says, destroy a random artifact, great. This is another 2-drop that solves a problem. It's not fantastic on turn 1, but it's still pretty okay. And, 2/2, there are worse stat lines than that. So, yeah, just sort of look at this core, try and find one of them, or a card we're going to talk about soon, to play on turn 1 as player 1, and you'll be great. So yeah, let's get into Double Agent, because Double Agent is not core to this deck. Double Agent has come in recently because of a bug where it steals cards from the opponent's deck, which is way better than just, getting a copy. So here it says draw a copy of a card. That's not what it does. It steals it. It takes that card. And so you can really deny your opponent's resources, which is good because you've already got like a very well-rounded 2-drop kind of package, and Double Agent really puts pressure on them by taking their cards off them, meaning that they've got to play into your powerful interaction suite. Dying Wish shuffle into your opponent's deck, that's fine. Such as Life, they aren't that likely to draw it, and if you get lucky, you play another Double Agent, you can steal it right back. Very convenient. So, Isby's Monument. This card is a B, so it's another reason Bugvet has its name, and it's a really efficient healing piece. 3 mana heal 12. So Bugvet's quite slow. It's got lots of slow win cons, and so Isby's Monument is a great way to power them out, basically, because you can just sort of send your general in and get into fights, and you won't die, which is convenient. So your Isby's Monument helps you get to the late game, just generally really useful tool. I wouldn't try and play them super early, because they're quite low tempo, being a 0-12, but great stuff. Notably, Blue Tip Scorpion can kill enemy Isbys in one hit, because, well, kind of. So they'll drop to 0-10 when the opponent ends turn, and Blue Tip will hit them for 8, down to 2, and then they'll die as you press end turn. So Blue Tip Scorpion, good counter opposing Isbys in case you don't want your opponent to be healing. Yeah. So now let's get into the 3 and 4 drops, because those are also quite important to the deck. So first 3 drops. Sand Burrower. 3 mana, 3/3, cannot be attacked while at full health. This card is fantastic. It lets you block your opponents in. It's just very hard, it's very annoying to remove, and because of the way your 2-drops are set up with all their pressure, it can be hard to find time to spend a removal spell on a Sand Burrower. And we have lots of top-end threats as well, so if the Sand Burrower does get removed, we can start interacting on, like, slam a Grail Master or something, and then things can get really complicated for your opponent. So Sand Burrower is just, like, generally very annoying. You can block with it to help get into the late game, can take tiles with it, and if you really need to, you can, just sort of eat a 2/3. Great stat line. Perfect stuff. Now we're going to talk about another sort of newcomer to the deck. It's not in the deck all the time, but it's good in this current metagame, because Sojourner is also bugged. So Sojourner, its opening gambit says put a random card into your action bar, but it actually puts a random minion into your action bar. Well, we think. It's technically possible that Sojourner is not bugged, and we've just gotten very, very, very unlucky, because it's random. But to the best of the Duelyst community's knowledge, Sojourner is currently bugged. And this bug is really powerful for this deck, because we really want minions. Spells, we're so proactive that we don't really need removal spells, and that's what a lot of spells are. There's also a lot of very bad spells, stuff like Fountain of Youth, which just doesn't really get much done, or Drain Morale, which is atrocious. And so, not having those in the pool and just finding great minions, stuff like Ancestral Vessel or more, can be really useful, and Sojourner is very powerful right now because of it. I recommend playing it in lots of different decks. Let's get to the real star of this deck, though. Once you've softened people up with your early game, you're like turn 1 plays, Black Locust is a fantastic turn 2 play. It's 4 mana, 2/1 flying. At the end of your turn, summon a copy of this on a random nearby space. So it summons a copy immediately when you end your turn, and now there are 2 Black Locusts. And that's really hard to remove, because they're in the backline, They're really annoying. And they snowball, because each one of them will copy itself again. And so Black Locust is a fantastic way to put pressure on your opponent, just test their removal spells, because a single target removal spell is really bad against Black Locust, Playing like an Onyx Bear Seal or a Dark Terminus just to kill 1 Black Locust, it will, its second part will keep copying, just a complete disaster. So Black Locust is one of the most powerful cards in the deck. I recommend mulliganing for it if you have a 2-drop, because it's just an incredible play early on, and you can really steal games with this card that you otherwise might not have been able to win. And Wind Strike is our other 4-drop. So Wind Strike is great because it's just very efficient. 4 mana, 4/3 flying, Dying Wish, equip a Staff of Yakir to your general, and Staff of Yakir is, of course, this 2 mana artifact that gives the general +2/+0, and when it's destroyed, you shuffle a copy of it into your deck. So this is good because it's adding more cards to your deck, which, as we know, is incredibly valuable. That's one of the reasons Double Agent is so strong. It steals cards from the enemy deck. And it's just like it's backline access, which can be good because often your opponents will hide the minions from your blue tip scorpions and things, and so Windstrike can come down and pick them off. I mean, when it dies, your general gets big, which is good synergy with Isbees because you can wade in, trade into a 4/4 and then heal back up. Just great stuff. Windstrike's one of the core cards of this deck. Starfire Scarab, also fantastic. So Starfire Scarab is another AoE piece because it attacks in a line, so it can attack lined up minions. It's also a good backline threat, which is a sort of common thread we'll see with this deck. And it's just quite tough. It's got 7 health. That's more than any card in this deck, except Isbees or Grailmaster, and so it can be a real test for your opponent to try and get rid of. It's just a fantastic mid-game card. Lots of vet decks play it, you'll see. So yeah, stick with Scarab, you'll do well. And now we're going to sort of head into the late game stuff, which has a couple more AoE pieces. So Serpentine, 6 mana 7/4 Frenzy, and Stormaratha, 6 mana 6/5 Flying. When this attacks an enemy, deal 3 damage to enemies nearby that enemy. So not Rustcrawler, Piercing Mantis. The observant viewer may have noticed that Piercing Mantis has only 1 attack, and so often in the late game, that's not great AoE. The opponents will have boards of 2/3s or maybe even like 5/5s, and that's just Piercing Mantis won't get the job done. So that's why we're playing Serpentine and Stormaratha. So Serpentine is the best AoE piece in this deck. 7 mana. Sorry, not 7 mana. 6 mana. It's a steal for 7 attack with Frenzy. So if it's surrounded, you're looking at what? 28. That's 56 area of effect damage from 6 mana. What an incredible card. And it's a lot of face damage as well, so once you're winning, even though Isbees will help your opponent heal up, obviously, if you're using it to keep yourself alive, a couple of Serpentine hits will get them right back down, very convenient. Stormaratha is slightly less powerful. It's more tough, it's got 5 toughness, and it's flying, so you can backline it rather than having to deploy it into the action, but it's only 3 damage AoE, and your opponent can play around it much more easily. So Stormaratha, also good at clearing boards, because you hit something for 6, you hit the other things around for free, and then you can, pick them off with a Piercing Mantis or your face or a double agent. But I definitely look for Serpentine more as we, as you enter the late game. I mean, Grailmaster. So Grailmaster is another win con. It's very powerful with Black Locust. I should probably say what it does, shouldn't I? So, Grailmaster. When you summon a minion, this gains a new random keyword from Celerity, Flying, Frenzy, Provoke, and Ranged. So all of these keywords are really strong. And Bugvet, as you may have noticed, is only minions. So we activate Grailmaster really quickly. It's very common for you to play a Grailmaster, and then next turn, after a Black Cloak is popped at the end of that turn, and then you play 2 more minions, you have a Celerity, Frenzy, Flying 7/7, which is a fantastic way to end the game. That's another AoE piece, although it's less consistent, so I don't like to use it as such, at least when I'm planning out my turns. But it's just very lethal. If it gets Celerity, that's 14 damage it's threatening, and, look at a Serpentine hit, that's 21 right there. So that's Grailmaster is just like a fantastic in-game way to slam the door on your opponent. You've got the early lead from all of your powerful sort of 2-drop package and your pressuring cards like Sandburrower, maybe you stuck a Black Locust or a Starfire Scarab. You keep them down with Serpentine and Stormaratha, and then you knock them down with Grailmaster. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and there might be some more deck techs in the future if people are interested. Bye-bye.